Look, I just got done talking to this guy, right? I had run into the parts store and grabbed something. And I heard the guy talking about some drone work he was doing. And I know what kind of drone I need, and I know what kind of drone I'm gonna buy. I said, hey man, I'm looking into buying a drone. What drone you think I should get? And he pulled his phone out, started showing me his work, and yeah, man, look, see what you need this. And we just got to chit chat. Stayed in there longer than I wanted to. But he was telling me how you have to understand the area I live in on the coast. We have a lot of events down here on the coast. We have like cruising the coast is a real big thing down here. And cruising the coast is for people with money. And what I mean by that is you got everybody that got these classic cars, top of the line. I'm talking about the motor. You can eat off the motor. Everything's so clean. And he was saying, yeah, man, look, I just did these the other day. You know, everybody getting set up and getting ready for cruising the coast, which they is. So he do the cruising the coast event. He do work for realtors when people trying to sell a house. And he was just showing me a bunch of his work. And now he got his drone cost some thousands. The drone he had. And I remember this guy saying something about this about 2 years ago. And I asked him, I said, man, you think you'll ever go full time doing it? He said, man, it's like I'm full time now. He said, I'm gonna just keep doing both. He said, I'm gonna keep my job right here. He said, I'm not, because he's not doing nothing. He's standing behind the counter. Hey, let me get this, and this. Grab it, $21.52. He said, man, I got my time in right here. He said, I got my insurance. I got my retirement set up right here. He said, all that, brother is cash money under the table. The government don't need to know nothing about that. And I understand exactly what he's talking about. Because once you actually start a business, become LLC, S Corp, or DBA, Uncle Sam wants his cut. And just because you run out there and make $20,000 in 1 month, don't mean you profit $20,000 in 1 month. Let's say you run out there and make $20,000 and you profit 10. Well, Uncle Sam gonna want about $2,000 of that. You see what I'm saying? Like the stuff he do now, I get it. The stuff he do, he gotta report some of that. Because a realtor, they gonna give you this little, hey, we paid this man it is. And they try to get their little cut of a write-off. And he was showing me some pictures of his work. And you have to understand the area you're in. Let's see, up north where everybody got money, you got a teenager running around here with a $5,000 drone. Down here in the south, there's not too many people that have a drone. And it's gonna do what he's doing. So you have to step out of that 9 to 5 mindset to see the gift that God has given you. You have to understand that. Like, we can see gifts in other people, but sometimes we can't see the gifts within ourselves, right? And once you tap into that, you will be able to make a living off of your gift or your talent if you tap into that. Like, one guy might start off flying drones and taking pictures and doing events. But who knows what that would lead to? That could lead to, okay, you're doing cruising the coast, you're doing scraping the coast, you're doing stuff for real estate people. He was telling me how a guy just bought 20 acres off of the interstate, and he went and shot a few pictures for that and outlined the property line, and you know, all this digitally. Like, you start doing that. Because what I want to use a drone for is when I do landscape projects. And I told him, I said, bro, I don't need nothing that's gonna fly 100 foot in the air. I said, I need something that's just gonna go up about 40 foot, do some befores and afters. He said, man, get you a mini, get you a DJI mini, spend about $500-600, and that has to be perfect for what you need. And that's what I'm gonna do, which I already know that. But the one I want, it's called a combo. It come with one I want, it's gonna be like $800 to $1,000 out the door. For some reason, I just refuse to spend that money right now. But that's the one I'm planning on getting. And you never know where your gift or talent will take you. You start off right here, but you don't know where you're gonna end. You don't know what, like I was listening to this podcast about this guy. He's a roofer. And he do $25 million a year. And he said, yeah, I do $25 million a year and I don't drive a Lambo. He said, you see guys in my space, once they start making about 4 million, 5 million, they run out and buy a Lambo and show you the lifestyle. He said, man, I drive a 2020 Toyota Camry. He said, I don't need that. He said, I got a wife and 2 boys. He said, when we go on vacation, my kids are not allowed to drink soda. And the guy was like, hold on, why they not allowed to drink soda? He said, when we sit down and eat dinner, soda is $2. He said, soda's $3 a pop. He said, 2 kids. He said, normally we go out. He said, normally when we go on vacation, we go for a whole week. He said, $6. He said, and he did the math. He's like, yeah, he said, when we go on vacation, we go for a week. I can't remember if he had 2 kids or 3 kids. He said, we sit down and eat dinner 3 times. He said, you sit down and eat 3 times a day when you're on vacation. He said, and you do $10. He said, each time you go to a restaurant, it's $3 for soda. He said, and you do that 3 times a day, $9, 9 times 7 is 63, or whatever it is, and you do 60 times, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had 5 kids. 4 or 5. He's like, end of the week, that's $200-300 on sodas. He said, I'm not penny pinching, but I want to show my kids you have to sacrifice something in order to have something. He said, yeah, he said, I'm not buying a Lambo. He said, we're not doing that. He said, and I don't glorify the 25 million. He said, I make 25 million, that's good. And the guy was like, man, you think you'll pass the business down to your son? He said, no. He said, by the time my kids get big, I've been a sold the business and started doing something else. And sometimes you'll sit back and wonder, how did that guy get that mindset? How did his mind, you have to unlock that. You're not born like that. You have to unlock that. That have to become unlocked. It was a certain point in my life, I had to unlock my 9 to 5, going to my 9 to 5 every day. I was so afraid to leave my 9 to 5 job my first year I left. Once I left and stepped out, I was like, man, this ain't too bad out here. And then you stop and look back. I did that for 10 years, man. Bro, I did that for 10 years, wasted my life. And then you just keep going to that next level, that next level, that next level, that next. But you have to tell yourself what that next level is. Some guys in my shoes will grow their business to 2 trucks on the road and then immediately get out of the truck. The business will be running itself, and then they'll go learn how to do HVAC, then start an HVAC. But I don't know. You have to make it up in your mind on how to get to that next level. And I admit I am a slow learner. So what is my next step after this? I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm just taking it one day at a time. And bro, what's the next level? I really don't know what's next. I really don't know. So, and that is where you have to get at in life. That is what you have to get at in life. And that's why I say don't waste your money just because you're making money, because everything can change like that overnight. You start making a bunch of money and start wasting a bunch of money. Look, I mean, it's your money to do what you want. I told y'all, cruising the coast coming. It's a nice truck. I had a truck like that. Y'all seen in my videos, I had a truck like that. I was in the process of rebuilding it, but then I had to ask myself, bro, this ain't smart. You got a family to raise and you wasting too much money. Do I regret selling that truck? Flip, no, that's the past, man. I don't never look back in the past and say I regret something. You keep moving on. But look, I got a call.